With keys falling out of the ignition is adding a second repair to GM's massive recall tonight. The automaker plans to replace the ignition lock cylinder on more than 2 million older model vehicles. They're already under recall for defective ignition switches. GM is adding the cylinder repair because of several hundred complaints. Keys can come out of the ignition while the engine is running, leading to a possible rollaway and crash.
And with the threat of criminal charges hanging over the company's head, today GM suspended 2 engineers linked to its dangerous ignition defect. 7 investigator Ross Jones is here now with the very latest. And Ross, what took him so long?
Question many people are asking, Stephen. Good evening. CEO Mary Barra was scolded by Congress last week for not holding anyone accountable for GM's ignition defect, even though she's known about it since at least January. She said she wanted to wait until the company's internal investigation was complete before handing out punishment, but today she changed her mind. There was no answer today at engineer Ray DiGiorgio's house, but there are still many questions about his role in the GM ignition recall. Today, he and fellow engineer Gary Altman were suspended by the company, the first employees disciplined over GM's defective ignition switches that had been linked to at least 13 deaths. DiGiorgio is the engineer who approved a newly designed ignition switch in 2006, meant to replace a defective one that was slipping from on to off. But he gave it the same name as the switch it replaced. On Capitol Hill last week, senators told CEO Mary Barra that was a clear attempt to hide there was a flaw with the original part, and they were baffled at why DiGiorgio was still coming to work each day.
It is hard for me to imagine you would want him anywhere near engineering anything at General Motors under these circumstances.
Gary Altman was the engineering manager for the Chevy Cobalt, one of the 2.6 million vehicles recalled for the defective part, and like DiGiorgio, he's still collecting a paycheck during his suspension. Employment attorney Deborah Gordon told me today that middle-level employees are usually the first to be suspended in a crisis like this, and usually not the last.
Sometimes they hope the lower-level people can be a sacrificial lamb and go quietly, okay? But if you start going higher level, it can create a lot of, problems rolling downhill at the very highest level of the company.
Neither Altman nor DiGiorgio could be reached today. GM had no comment on their suspensions.
All right, Ross, thank you so much for that. I know we'll stay on top of the story.